All right, y'all. So I'm gonna try to do this podcast real quick. My son, of course, wanted to come upstairs and start cooking the moment I figured all my technical difficulties out. But here we are. My name is Nicole Patrice. For those of you who don't know me, I'm an artist. I'm a singer, bilingual Spanish speaking. I teach a little Spanish if you're willing to learn, but I have absolutely no patience for people who don't try to learn anything. So just miss me with that if you just want somebody to tell you stuff and put information in your head via osmosis. It's not going to happen. But I decided to do a podcast just because, I got a lot to say sometimes. And, sometimes people don't give you leverage, the means to get it all out. So this is kind of my way of doing that. And I got a little triggered this morning or last night because I saw my girl Kelis having to explain herself on Instagram, and that just really bothered me. So as an artist, as a collaborator, as someone who had, aspired at one point to be in the music industry, not so much now as just selling, the rights to my songs and knowing and understanding how copyrights and things work. But yeah, my girl, she was caught up defending herself against, of course, the Beehive and anybody else who felt like they had to add their 2 cents in, because she was taken aback by her being credited on Beyonce's Renaissance album. If you didn't know, was released on today, Friday, July 29th. And this album, of course, we've been waiting on, and it's very dance heavy, etc. So there's a couple interpolations, and if you don't know what an interpolation is, it basically is you taking a sample of a recording, or a portion or a part of a production of a recording, so whether it be vocals or instrumentation or both, and then taking that musical piece and then reconfiguring it in some kind of way, either replaying the melody or replaying the instrumentation as a new recording, or taking portions of it and remixing it, or taking certain melodic lines and maybe distorting them, etc. So that is what an interpolation is. And so it happens a lot. It happens all the time. Hip hop is in general based on that. R&B today, I don't know what it would do without it. We would not have new music, I don't think, without sampling and interpolation. So thankfully, the laws are there to allow this and people to do that. The problem is 17-year-old or 18-year-old Kelis was friends with Chad, Hugo, and Pharrell Williams, I believe is his last name, the Neptunes, better known as the Neptunes. She hooked up with them. She's from Harlem. They're from the DMV area. Somehow they got hooked up together, I think, through school. And, the rest is history. So she did her first 2 albums. And on those 2 albums are a lot of music that we all know and love Kelis for, and that define the Neptunes. The Neptunes have been quoted as saying that Kelis pushed them artistically and contributed to their style. I don't know how much how far you can take that out and assume that maybe she wrote some things, maybe she added some production. But what we do know is Kelis has been very vocal in the past about Chad and Pharrell being fake friends and collaborating with her, and under her assumption that she would get equal shares of production for both of her, all of the songs, for credits on both of those albums, her first 2 albums. And she didn't. The track in particular that has now reopened that wound is the Beyonce Energy track, in which she interpolates Milkshake. And when you look at the credits, she gives honor to Kelis as the performance artist. But because she is not credited on the tracks with production rights and copyrights, publishing rights, she is not credited as a writer, as is Chad and Pharrell. So they get paid and she does not. So yes, legally, Kelis has no claim right now. Has no claim. However, ethically, I get where she's coming from. Woman to woman, I feel like Beyonce as an artist, especially claiming that she's a feminist, claiming that she wants to empower the voiceless, I feel like she could have done a lot better in not inserting herself in the beef. Many people are saying, well, that's not her beef. That's between Kelis and the Neptunes. And that's completely right. It is between them. But once you kind of put yourself in the middle of a known feud or a known beef or any known inequality, you side with that the person that is oppressing in so many ways the other person, or oppressed years ago. People want to say that, oh, it happened years ago. It doesn't matter. The history is with us now. Like, this is why we're talking about it, because the history doesn't go away. It's still with you in the present. And like I said, this is an old wound that was reopened by Beyonce. Let's just be frank. So for her to inject herself in the beef, I feel like the best she could have done, and I mean, PR is trying to clean it up now by, saying her lawyers and everybody with the record label is saying, well, she had the rights. Beyonce always gets her clearances. What's the problem? But we've known Beyonce in the past to take other artists' work and try to get credit as her own. Neo wrote Irreplaceable. To the left, to the left. And guess what? Beyonce actually tried to imply that she wrote that song when we all know Neo wrote it. There's been several songs, If I Were a Boy, where she's taken from smaller artists and she's bought all the rights and put herself as the writer, even though we know she didn't write it. Different performances, the Single Ladies video, choreography, etc. The list goes on and on. So Beyonce is not new to this game of, I'm going to go ahead and take this idea and run with it, and I'm gonna make y'all think this was mine and I'm the best thing ever, so that's one thing. So yeah, the girl's name is on the writing credits, but morally, ethically, I feel like as a woman, as somebody who claims to be a feminist, as somebody who has as much leverage and power as I do if I'm Beyonce, knowing what I've done in the past and knowing what Kelis went through possibly, and knowing even that Pharrell is shady, like, hello, Robin Thicke, he, in the Marvin Gaye estate, like, that whole thing was behind Pharrell, and Robin Thicke had to pay the price for it, and Pharrell kind of got off scot-free, I feel like, in so many ways. So now here it is again, same kind of scenario where, what's going on with Pharrell that he don't want to give credit to his artist. So as Beyonce, I just think she could have been a lot smarter about it. And all Kelis said in her Instagram, if you watch the whole video, she just said, I know it wouldn't have changed monetarily, compensation wise, legally, anything, but she could have just called me and said, hey, I'm gonna use you on this album. I just want to give you a heads up and give you credit for it, but we know you're not gonna get any royalties or any payoff of it, but I just wanted to let you know, I'm using your sample. And she could have just hung up the phone on her, and I feel like Kelis ain't lying. She would have been okay with that. She's still mad with the Neptunes, but at least that would have absolved Beyonce of being just neglectful of this woman and her rights to her intellectual property. And for those people who are saying, well, she don't, it's too late, this was years ago, she need to take it up with them, that's her fault, she should decide that. Totally right, totally agree, but at the same time, like, you look at Sister Nancy with Bomb Bomb, that woman didn't get paid for years and years. She was working as a receptionist or something in a firm, and has contributed one of the greatest, most sampled, most identifiable, legendary records of all time. So she had to go fight years later to get half, of her royalties back. Probably will never get what she was fully owed, but at least she was able to do it. So I'm saying, please go out there, find Sister Nancy's lawyer, find her team, lawyer up, girl, and don't let the Beehive try to come at you, because a lot of them don't even know what they're talking about, first of all. But to conflate not having rights on a song with deserving those rights and the ethics of how the music industry, or the lack of ethics in which predatory legal practices and contracts in the industry have especially sided against Black artists and Black female artists. I just don't understand how you can side with the giants versus the little guy in this situation. It's okay to love both artists. It's okay to love all three people involved, artists involved, the Neptunes, Beyonce, and Kelis. But at the end of the day, right is right and wrong is wrong. I mean, there's slavery was legal. Does that make it right? No, there's plenty of laws and legal things that have happened that are legally sound but are morally just wrong, and you get the consequences of that. So I feel like any consequences or backlash that Beyonce is getting behind this was well deserved, because she inserted herself into a very slick situation that she could have easily resolved by picking up the phone and trying to smooth it over with her, or just not sampling it at all, because we already know the Neptunes, especially Pharrell, has been the face of blatant theft, musical theft. I mean, that blurred lines was a little blurry. I do feel like it was it's like it walked a very fine line of being theft. But hey, the gay estate called it out and they won. So it is what it is. So I just hope all power to Kelis, all power to Beyonce, that everything works out. And I definitely hope that Pharrell, especially like Kelis said, he's been advocating for workers getting their workers for writers and producers and artists getting their deals configured, and getting their just due. I hope that he actually takes this opportunity to, man up and be about what he's talking about, as Beyonce didn't woman up, I feel like, and do what could have been done, which was at least open that communication with Kelis to say, hey, it's real messed up what they did. I really like this track. I hope you get paid for it. I support you. I'm going to use the song. I hope this isn't too offensive for you, but I honor you. That's all she had to do. Just show a little compassion to reopening this woman's 20-30-year-old wound. I don't know how long it's been since those albums been out, but I know it's been about 20 years. So, I mean, yeah, she a little bitter about it. And also, Kelis just lost her husband. Like, it's a lot to factor in. So y'all, I just say don't beat up on my girl, because I love her so much, and we all know, anybody who's about that R&B life knows that without Kelis and the Neptunes back in the 90s and the early 2000s, music just, I don't know what we'd be listening to right now. It's a lot of it's regurgitated now, but I can only imagine if we had that gaping hole of influence from those guys. Beyonce as well, like she definitely takes the artistry to another level. But it's just, let's just give credit where credit's due. You don't want that bad karma on you, you know what I'm saying? That's all. Just because it's legal, don't make it right. All right, so that's all I had to say, and hopefully this all recorded, because this is my first time and technically everything messed up, but I'm on my way to Lollapalooza. Happy Friday, y'all. Y'all be safe out there. Keep creating, and let me know if you like this. Subscribe to my channel, hit the bell for notifications, and make sure you follow me on all social media, and I will leave my links in the description. All right, y'all. Take care. Bye.